Sincere apologies for coming to your screen and having breakfast with us on Camnet TV. And what's starting a bit late due to some technical challenges, but nevertheless, the day has to proceed and ensure that we have breakfast together on the 12th day of December 2023. Days indeed are flying, and questions continue to be asked in terms of if we're celebrating the 2023 Christmas Day, because about 13 days to go and there's a lot happening in the country. But I'm your host, Nelson Zulu, for the Tuesday edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, where we get to discuss a lot of issues pertaining to what is happening in the country. And I'm not alone in the studio. I'm joined by the unfamiliar face yet familiar voice. Yeah, hopefully I'm putting the terms in the correct phrase, how they're supposed to be. Vincent Piri. Good morning, Vincent.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well.
How did you rest?
No, the resting has been very well, given the fact that we've got the rains.
Yeah. At least I think the weather today will be better.
The day should be better, definitely, and we look forward to how it's going to be exciting, because I mean, a lot of complaints have been given to say we don't know when it's going to rain, because previously it even used to rain on an Independence Day, but that wasn't happening this year.
Yeah, I think for a number of years we haven't had that. Maybe the last time we had that, we were still young.
Were you among the doubting Thomases that were saying we're not going to have rains?
I think so. Looking at the weather updates that we are getting, and also the El Nino issue, I think it's justifiable that we have little rains up to this time. But looking at what we are getting now, maybe, just maybe, our hopes can be lifted.
Well, hopefully your hopes have also been lifted, looking at what is pertaining when it comes to our weather. And this plus more on the Tuesday edition of the Camnet TV is what you might have to look for, because we'll also be able to load you down in as far as some of the stories that we're making headlines, as well as our interview in terms of what is happening in the country, what the perspective that you have as the audience out there. But right about now, let's head into our health corner and have Dr. Nakubuyana Mufwaya address us on one or two health issues.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubuyana Mufwaya. So this week we are talking about a rare condition, a rare disease that is not very common, but also found among ourselves in our communities. We have some people that have this condition, and we are talking about rickets. Now, yesterday we talked about what ricket is, what ricket is, and today we'll talk about what causes, or what are some of the causes of rickets. But before I do, let me just mention that today is Rare Disease Day, and this is how come we're talking about a rare condition, and that is rickets. So what really causes rickets? Now, yesterday we mentioned that rickets comes about as a result of lack of vitamin D, or vitamin D deficiency. And so if you or your child lacks vitamin D, then they are going to develop rickets. What are some of the risk factors that cause you to lack vitamin D? It can be because you are not eating foods that are high in vitamin D. You're not getting foods or eating foods that are high in vitamin D. And what are some of these foods? These foods include fish, milk, eggs, and some cereals that are fortified with vitamin D. So these are some of the sources of vitamin D that we need to be eating in our diet in order to prevent our children from having vitamin D deficiency. How else can a child lack vitamin D? It can be because they are not being exposed to the sun. And so if you have children that are not being exposed to the sun, they may develop rickets, because our bodies only able to make vitamin D upon exposure to the sun. And so you don't need a lot of sun exposure. Even just up to 20 minutes a day is enough time for your child to be able to make vitamin D in the skin. So you need to expose your child to the sun for them to be able to make vitamin D or synthesize vitamin D. Then what are some of the other causes? So there are some other causes that can cause vitamin D deficiency, and these are more genetic causes. And usually they are X-linked. So usually you'd find that in families, there's some people that have this condition of rickets, and it's passed on to others as well. But that is a very rare situation. But there's some people that can have this genetic disorder, which is inherited, and they can end up having rickets because of that genetic disorder. Then there are also other causes that affect the ability of the body to absorb calcium and phosphate from the intestines. And so if your body is having a certain condition that prevents it from absorbing or absorbing the calcium and the phosphate from the intestines, then you can end up having this rickets condition. And so some conditions that affect absorption of calcium include inflammatory bowel disease, where your bowels are inflamed and they're not able to perform or function well. There is also a condition called celiac disease, which is not very common, but it affects the absorption of nutrients and food from the intestines. So these are some of the causes, or this is how rickets can come about in children. So if your child, if your child is only receiving breast milk, let's say a baby is receiving breast milk only, and the mother is not giving any other food. So we usually advise mothers to breastfeed up to 6 months exclusively. But if the mother continues to breastfeed even up to 1 year without giving any other foods, then your child will be lacking in certain nutrients, and vitamin D is one of those nutrients. And so you need to be able to introduce the child or the baby to other foods, especially after 6 months. So introduce the baby to foods like eggs, milk, fish, which are high in vitamin D, to help the baby to have vitamin D. Also, in the first few months, or the first 3 months of the baby's life, or from 3 months to 6 months, the child can also be given vitamin D supplements just to help with the prevention of rickets. And so if the mother also has this condition where the mother doesn't have vitamin D or is vitamin D deficient, it's possible that the child who is going to be born from this mother will also develop rickets, because the mother doesn't have vitamin D, and so the child will develop rickets as the child is growing because they were not exposed, or they did not receive enough vitamin D from the mother. Then children who are also born prematurely, or who are born before 9 months, that's like about 7 months and below, they are more at risk of having rickets as well. And so this is how rickets can come about. Today we're talking about what causes rickets, or how rickets comes about. And we say that it's because of a lack of vitamin D. And this lack of vitamin D can be due to our diet not having vitamin D. So if you are not consuming foods that are high in vitamin D, then you can develop rickets. We also say that there are some people that can inherit a condition where they are not able to absorb ricket or absorb calcium properly, and it's a genetic condition, and so they develop rickets as a result. We also mentioned that there are some conditions where the body is not absorbing calcium from the intestines, such as inflammatory bowel disease and also celiac disease. The other cause is that if the mother has vitamin D deficiency, so if the pregnant mother doesn't have enough vitamin D, it's possible that they can pass it on to the child, and the child will also develop rickets. So this is what we are learning today about some of the causes of rickets. I do hope you have learned something, and make sure that you are watching the breakfast show to learn more about these conditions. And if you are not able to find time to watch, you can also check out my YouTube channel, where I post these videos, and you'll be able to watch them on my YouTube channel, and the channel is Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya Siameka. So make sure that you watch these videos even on my YouTube channel. You can find them at your own time and learn more about some of these conditions. Make sure that you share with your friends as well, and let's all learn so that we know how we can prevent ourselves from having some of these conditions that we are talking about on the breakfast show. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya, with causes of rickets, popularly known as matewe. I don't know if that still happens in our communities.
Yeah, it's still there.
Do you also refer to them as matewe?
It is, because how it can't fade away because it's our mother tongue. So we always refer to it as matewe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I had a friend, I think the time was in grade 7 somewhere there, who had rickets, and they would say chamatewe. And then you become a laughing stock just like that.
That's an offense.
That's an offense, right?
Yeah, you can't tell someone. You can't tell someone.
But who knows? Maybe at such a stage you don't know that it's an offense.
Yeah, maybe that can be the case, but I think it's offensive.
Yeah, offensive as it is. But, well, that was Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya, and hopefully you learned one or two things when it comes to the issue of ensuring that we avert issues relating to rickets, popularly known as matewe, here in Zambia. And right about now, let's get to load you down in as far as the kwacha is performing against the major currencies. That is our money market segment, and let's get to look at that. Yeah, there you have it on your screens. Is the British pound is buying at 30 kwacha, selling at 30, buying at 30 kwacha 30 ngwe, selling at 30 kwacha 90 ngwe. The euro is buying at 25 kwacha, selling at buying at 25 kwacha 93 ngwe, selling at 26 kwacha 44 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 27 ngwe and selling at buying at 1 kwacha 27 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 29 ngwe. The United States dollar is buying at 24 kwacha 10 ngwe, selling at 24 kwacha 58 ngwe. Yesterday it was selling at 24 kwacha 15 ngwe.
And that was in the morning.
That was in the morning. Yes. And as you can see on your screen is that these have been updated as early as 7:38. And one thing that has to be kept note of is the fact that these rates, they vary from bank to bank.
Bank to bank,
but
and
however,
they change at any time.
Yeah, but however, concerns. We even had a story that was done by you yesterday that there's need to address the depreciation of the kwacha that has continued to depreciate against the major currencies in the country, and I think these are concerns that have also been coming down from the residents, even at local level, who are saying Vintu Vadula.
Yes, and looking at where the dollar is, 24 kwacha 58 ngwe, the chances are high that it will go over 24 kwacha 60 ngwe. By the end of the week, who knows, we might go up to as high as 25 kwacha.
Yeah, we might go as high as 25 kwacha, but there's also need to remain positive, because Miriam Kamba will tell you that you need to be positive. You see, so those are some of the things that you need to look at.
Yeah, we remain positive, but however, looking at where we are now, the year is coming to an end, and we are importing a lot of goods, and that is, I think, that's one factor that's affecting the kwacha right now, because if you see. This is a time where farmers or the government import goods like fertilizer, okay, yes. And they are imported in bulk. So that's one factor that. So for this year, I think we should forget about having the kwacha starting appreciating.
Well, I like one thing, importing fertilizer. You forgot to mention that even one thing that becomes a good commodity when it comes to the festive season is the use of fireworks.
Yes.
Fireworks are imported in huge numbers. Everyone wants to crack some fireworks and be on the top zone and everything in celebration mode.
Yeah. And obviously this is affecting, as you said earlier, this is affecting a lot of Zambians. Looking at the prices of goods, as you said, I did a story yesterday and I was in Comesa Market, where some traders were even saying, although it was off camera, they were saying our colleagues have stopped going out of the country to order their merchandise. Instead, they prefer ordering within the country. So you see now the complications or the effects that this has come with.
Well, those are among the stories that we get to look at this morning. Remember, this is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show on a Tuesday, and you can get through to us via our GoTV platform on channel 25, Topstar channel 106, DSTV channel 274, as well as Facebook and our YouTube channel. Remember that you too can come through and give us your contribution as well as your take on a lot of issues that we're going to be talking about. And I can safely confirm to you that our phone lines are now open as we get directly into zooming some of the stories that made headlines in our last or previous bulletin last night. And one of the stories that we get to look at is the issue where some street vendors trading along Simon Moore Lane have appealed to the government to open up the Simon Moore market before the rains intensify. The concerned traders says it will be difficult to conduct their businesses which sustain their livelihood once the rains start, hence the need for the government to quickly open the facility. Let's get to look at that story. We'll be back shortly.
On July 18, 2023, government swung into action to remove street vendors from the central business district in Lusaka. The move saw vendors relocate to certain markets, such as City Market and other places. However, as here along Simon Moore Lane, due to lack of spaces in the said facilities. With the rainy season in its initial stage, some vendors earmarked to occupy Simon Moore Market have expressed concern over the delay in opening the facility, as this area is usually flooded.
Like during rain season, tifunisisa kuti batifaka ko chemu batichosa mu road batifaka ko market nge pembo ya because mu road manzi azazula yamazula kumbali so bakatichosa mu batipeleka ko mu market nishwa kitabu and then tikali kuembekeza maningi manje batuza ta I market inazula benangu I market banakita apply benangu manje iseba mu road like mumbali bamene banapisha mu street tizakaenda kuti
atyankati market banashita kudala apply then market isi yamavendi then tu rain season manje yamba kuno kumankala manzi full masiza vanwatigalizira mwali stavutika.
Other traders explains that they were initially allocated trading spaces in City Market, but owners surfaced with threats, hence ending up here, only waiting on the opening of the market. A check at the market found the facility has taken shape with final touches of work going on. When contacted for a comment, Lusaka City Council LCC, Publications Officer Nyambe Bulumba says the market is almost complete and the authority is targeting to open it before end of the year.
That market is completely done as we speak at the moment, but we've set December month end, this month end. That's we've agreed the market should be commissioned and be opened to the public before the year ends. Unless otherwise, then we shall be able to give information to members of the public concerning that.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Of street vending in Lusaka has been a thorn issue for some time, and a lot of people now want Simon Moore Lane Market to be opened because the rains are here, and it's going to be high time that they also look at their plight and ensure that they also have a safe trading place. I don't know your take on that issue. I know you are on the ground or part of the crew that took a visit to Simon Moore Lane Market.
Okay, I think I don't know what's delaying government from opening that market, because looking at it, I think most of the works are done, and from the traders themselves, they were telling us that some of them have already registered with authorities. Now, the question is, why are they taking long to open the market? As the city, we are trying by all means to see to it that we do away with the issue of street vending. But again, we are not providing alternative solutions. You see, that market is idle there, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are trading on the spaces. Why not get some of the vendors and put them in the market so that at least we reduce the number of the people.
Maybe there's also some sort of assurance that's being given from the city fathers themselves, the Lusaka City Council, who are just on record to say, yes, we do recognize that the market is almost at completion level, and things being equal, maybe these traders, in no time, they will be given some space to ensure that they trade in that trading facility.
But I don't think I can buy into that personally, because I think we have heard that for I don't know how many times, including the ministry itself, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, saying we'll open this so that we create space for traders. They were saying the city market had space to at least swallow a number of the traders, but when I went there, not yesterday but some time back, people are telling me people there have got, I mean the market is full to capacity, but the problem now is because of those traders who are not trading in markets, people are deserting the city market, going back to the streets, and that's how we are still having this.
Well, I don't know what your take is, wherever you're watching us from Lusaka, despite it being banned for some time now, has been a thorn issue, and I don't know how best that issue can be addressed according to your perspective. You can give us your contribution via our Facebook platform, our social YouTube channel, as well as giving us a call or a text. But right about now, we also get to look at another story from the Southern Africa Cross-Border Traders Association, who are asking government to put in place measures that will help contain the continued depreciation of the kwacha, as it has negatively affected their business. I'm sure you are the one that brought this story from
Yes.
Mr. Jacob Makambwe, who's saying the continued depreciation of the kwacha against major convertible currencies is worrying.
Yes. I also spoke to one trader in the Comesa market who, as I said earlier, they are saying people have stopped going out. Not because they do not have the money, but when they go there, their money will be reduced to almost nothing, and they'll come back with a few commodities that they would have managed to order.
Well, let's get to look at that story in detail and also get a perspective from Muya Ikabongo, who is an economist,
Yes.
and is expressing optimism that things might get better. You never know.
Yeah.
You know about today, but tomorrow is
Tomorrow
never
you'll
known.
never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Zambian kwacha fell to a record low against the US dollar and has been vulnerable to major convertible currencies in the past months. Zambia's kwacha has experienced more than 20% decline against the dollar since the end of June, according to Bloomberg, beating only Argentina's peso on the top worst performing currencies. As at 11th December 2023, the local unit is trading at 24 kwacha 54 ngwe, a record never registered for years. To alleviate this ongoing pressure on the foreign exchange market and to control inflation, the Bank of Zambia last month announced several measures, including increasing the minimum mandatory reserves of both local and foreign currency deposits that commercial banks are required to maintain. A month later, the measures by the central bank have yielded no tangible results as the kwacha has continued free-falling. A cross-border trader says this has negatively impacted business, stating that other traders have opted to stop ordering their merchandise from outside the country.
Kwacha yagwa cheso kuri beba bire bichitika na business futi is slow. Business is slow maningi mwana bidolari kwa mwamba mwana at least ngabura kwa 17 18 bali mankala mushi kwa chinja kwa 70 150 kapura chinga che mushi.
Meanwhile, the Southern Africa Cross-Border Traders Association has asked government to put in place measures that will help contain the ever-depreciating kwacha.
Kwacha has continually, going down against other currencies. This is actually most well when it comes to business, especially business planning. You see these imperatives that government has put measures into making sure that they manage to maintain the exit rate so that it will be a little bit much more of business people to plan and also to have, a predictable cost of goods and services.
And Patriots for Economic Progress PEP leader Sean Tembo says government silence on this matter is concerning.
We are very concerned that there is no guidance, there is no assurance from government in terms of what it is doing to address the continued depreciation of the kwacha. We have seen that the kwacha has depreciated by more than 25% in the past 1 month or so. And there's a lot of anxiety in the business environment among consumers because whenever the kwacha depreciates, it translates into increase in prices and a lot of uncertainty in the business environment.
However, economist Muyai Kabongo says there's hope for the local currency to gain back its strength if government implements some of the measures it has put in place.
We want to look at the fact that we have to reduce our fiscal debt, and our fiscal spending has to reduce. Government has to work on that, but this is something that we saw from the budget, of course, that fiscal spending has been curtailed to meet the standard that is amicable to us. Now, apart from that, we also have seen an issue to do with diversification, increase in social spending and so on. These are measures that are intended to ensure that we move away from high dependence on a mono product, which is copper. So diversification and many other measures that have been put in place, we believe that in the immediate term we start to see the positive, and this actually will translate into the kwacha gain in value over time.
Given that Zambia imports a wide range of products from fuel to fertilizer, the exchange rate fluctuations undoubtedly have a significant impact on the prices which Zambians have had to bear for half 2023. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Of the kwacha trading against the major convertibles and what it really means on the local front when we look at doing business as well as the cost of living. These are issues that will always pop up the moment someone talks about the kwacha and its performance when it comes to vis-a-vis the international currencies or international convertibles. But let's get to look another story as we continue to zoom in the headlines this morning.
Yeah, this story is coming from the courts where the Lusaka Magistrate Court has handed a 1-year, 2-month sentence to a 56-year-old man of Matero, Buxton, Daga, for assault occasioning actual bodily harm on his wife, Rachel Kosi. Now, in August this year, the 56-year-old appeared in a shocking video that went viral on social media, brutally beating his wife. Allegations are that the convict on 8th August 2023 assaulted the victim, thereby occasioning her actual bodily harm. Let's get to Simon in that story.
This year in August, social media was taken by storm when a video of a man allegedly beating his wife went viral, leaving the country gripped with emotions. The action of 56-year-old Buxton Danga of Lusaka's Matero compound sparked public debate while relevant government institutions took action. Monday, 11th December 2023, Lusaka Magistrate Kawama Mwamfuli sentenced the unprofessional karate man to 14 months in prison for assaulting, occasioning actual bodily harm on his wife, Rachel Nkosi. Earlier during the court proceeding, wife to the convict testified that on August 8, 2023, around 10 hours, she was beaten by the convict for asking why the convict had spent a night away from home. She testifies that the convict took offense and ordered her to pack her belongings and return to her parents. The 30-year-old woman testified before Magistrate Mwamfuli that while packing her belongings, she went outside, and that's how the convict began to beat her while someone was filming. She explains that she feels embarrassed because the video has gone viral, as this is not the first time such a thing was happening. In mitigation, lawyer to the convict, Sally Tembo, pleaded with the court to consider that the convict is a first offender who is regretful and remorseful of his actions and has learnt a lesson during the time he has spent in custody and now believes that physical abuse is not the solution. Counsel Tembo also asked the court to consider that the victim's testimony had no evidence of the video before the court. However, in passing the sentence, Magistrate Mwamfuli sentenced Buxton Danga to 14 months in prison. Meanwhile, speaking shortly after the court proceeding, wife to the convict encouraged other women in the country experiencing abuse in their marriages to speak out.
kwipa fyafine bali nguma ine nga bali nchipera babana nga bachitisha nga bali chura so at least kulia kunankana ko babatwera mayezi ya nono barafuma fe bati barasambirira kwipa fyafine bali nguma ine nga bali nchipera babana nga bachitisha nga bali chura so at least kulia kunankana ko babatwera mayezi ya nono barafuma fe bati barasambirira
Going forward, she now intends to be an ambassador of gender-based violence in the country. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
A very devastating development. They are looking at that video. I think it's bringing back memories of what happened and the feelings we had the first time we saw that video. Now, you covered that story and you were there when this judgment was being passed. What was the general feeling in the court?
Well, the general feeling in the court, I would say, was very emotional because we saw, I think, families from both sides of the convict as well as the victim in court, and just looking forward to how the testimony is going to be given from the victim, because she was the one that was actually being brutalized or abused by the husband physically. And when you look at that video, what was so touching is the fact that it went viral and the face was seen in that video. However, even in her testimony, she did indicate that life has been very much difficult because that video went viral on social media. So it's been very embarrassing for her to go about her business. It's also been very difficult for her to do one or two things that she's supposed to be doing because she feels anguished. She feels left out.
Yeah, she feels out of space.
Yes, and what was so interesting as well was the fact that we've seen local organizations, the Young Women Christian Association of Zambia, coming to the rescue of the same victim, because as we're speaking, she's under the care of the organization and the ones that are looking after. But obviously for me, the fact was to see, okay, 14 months in prison, that's like a year and 2 months.
That's debatable.
Yes, and then I was asking myself questions, say, is this how we want to deter would-be offenders of gender-based violence? Because someone would think, okay, if I do a similar stuff, I'll also be handed with a 14 months sentence. But however, we look forward to how things get to unfold, because there's also room for appeal if both parties are not satisfied with the judgment or the sentence that was handed by the magistrate Kawana Mamfuli. They get to appeal within 14 days. So that's the beauty about how things unfolded. But generally, the feeling for me was really devastating. I felt emotional to some extent, because you look, this is a woman that is testifying before the courts, and she's got two kids for that matter. Yeah, and you get beaten just for asking your husband to say, my love, the previous day you're not here, you spent a night away from home. What happened? Yeah. Where were you?
And then you get such beatings.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, I'm interested just to get, you are from Eastern Province, I know.
Yes.
There are those issues where when you get arrested and then some people outside, and then you are released. Is that true?
I'm not too sure, but those things maybe might be happening. But this is a different scenario altogether, because we've seen that YWCA also have done justice in terms of cancelling the woman as well as the couple, because even when the 14 months sentence was being handed, the convict did allude to the court that he was remorseful and had learned a lesson the time he was in custody, given the fact that physical abuse is not the solution.
Yeah, and I think it shouldn't always get to that level, because it's disturbing. And also maybe to talk of issues of punishment, as you said, I think we should have laws that are stiff enough so that such people are caged for a longer period of time. Because it's not just the issue of punishing them, but also we should look at the issue of reforming such people. I think there's something wrong upstairs, because you can't beat someone you love to that extent using a hoe, using vibakera kumutu na hivi. I think it shouldn't be like that.
well, yeah, just like you said,
yeah.
You can't beat someone that you love to that extent. But well, let's move forward with another story that we're looking at from the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, who have arrested 5 individuals, including 3 Zambians, 1 Ugandan, and a Burundian national for trading in counterfeit notes amounting to over 475,000 US dollars and 49,000 kwacha.
Huge money is there. Huge money. Counterfeit money.
So it's really devastating. But let's get to look at that story, because I was almost asking how many people so far have been maybe affected by the same counterfeit.
Yes. How much is in the circulation as we speak?
Yes. Well, let's get to look at that story.
The Drug Enforcement Commission is in Lusaka has arrested 5 individuals for trading in counterfeit notes amounting to over 475,000 US dollars and over 49,000 kwacha. The 5, who include 3 Zambians, 1 Ugandan and 1 Burundian, have been identified as Simon Mugabe, age 47, residing in Lusaka's Chaisa compound, Undikuwayo Diomede, 45, residing in Emersdale, Chiwe Mulenga, a female, age 61, residing in Kamwala South, Musonda Walia, also a female, age 60, of Rodsburg, and Edwin Mando, age 32, of Lusaka's Kamwala Township.
The 5, which includes 2 females and 2 males, have been identified as follows: Simon Mugabe, male, aged 47, residing in Chaisa compound; Elian Diamonde, male, aged 45, residing in Emersdale, Lusaka; and Chibwemlenga, female, aged 61, residing in Kamwala South; Musonda Bwalia, female, aged 60, residing in Rodsburg. Then the 5th one is Edwin Mando, male, aged 32, residing in Kamwala. So the last one, Edwin Mando, was arrested for trading in 49,700 counterfeit Zambian kwacha. Last one, Edwin Mando, was arrested for trading in 49,700 counterfeit Zambian kwacha, which you are seeing here. And then the other 4 that I mentioned were jointly arrested for trading in US dollars counterfeit notes.
The Commission says it has observed a trend of counterfeit notes suspected to be manufactured in East Africa coming into the country, and has since warned that the institution is on high alert and shall not relent to criminalities like such a one.
The institution has observed a trend of counterfeit notes which are suspected to be manufactured in East Africa coming into our country. So through our Director General, he's issued out a very strong warning to say the institution is very much on high alert, trying to make sure that these criminalities, which are weakening our economies, should not be allowed. So as the institution, we recognize that having counterfeit notes in circulation can significantly weaken our economy by eroding confidence in the Zambian kwacha.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Counterfeit money in US dollars and kwacha. Ish.
It's so tempting.
So tempting, yeah. I was even thinking in those lines, but for me, my worry was basically we're talking about the kwacha that is weakening, and we've got such activities that are happening in the country. You can wonder how much has actually been disposed of when it comes to the market locally, and how many people have been affected, and more so, what if those people are also actively involved in issues relating to business?
Yeah, it's most likely because people who always have such kind of monies are business people. So you wonder who is a victim to this scam.
Yeah, but
because obviously there should be 1 or 2.
Yeah, kudos to DEC.
Yeah,
because they managed to apprehend the 5 individuals, and it also brings some sort of comfort. If maybe you are among those, God forbid, that was swindled, you also maybe have a sense of a breathness and a sense of hope. Yeah, but let's look at the other stories.
Now, the other story here is suspected United Party for National Development, UPND cadres have attacked economic freedom fighters leader Kasonde Mwenda and his entourage in Kitwe on the Copper Belt. The incident happened on Monday morning, and the cadres were heard in the video, which was recorded live on Facebook, questioning Mr. Mwenda for insulting President Hakainde Hichilema. I think we can get more of this story in this following clip.
Yes, let's get to that clip and see what exactly transpired.
Outside the police station today at 10 hours received information that Mr. Mwenda Kasonde, the president of Economic Freedom Fighters Party, was having an illegal meeting at Gisela Guest House in Kitwe. Brief facts are that police received information that the president of EFF and his entourage was having a press conference. Police visited the scene where they found Mr. Mwenda, Mr. Siame Changala, Secretary General, Mr. Francis Sampa, Copper Belt Chairperson, and 6 journalists. They were asked if they had notified the police, of which they stated that they did not, and apologized for the oversight. All were advised to accompany the police to the station, where they were warned and advised to stop any further illegal meetings, of which they acknowledged positively and were let to go. Police have initiated investigation into the matter. Later on the way, they were blocked by people who apprehended them and brought them back to Riverside Police Station, where they were released since there was no report of any alleged matter. As regards to the theft of the laptop for Mr. Kasonde and the car keys, the laptop was found in the vehicle he was using, and the car keys were brought by a taxi driver to Riverside and handed over at the station. The reports we have as of now are for assaults involving Mr. Kasonde and Mr. Changala, which we have launched a manhunt for the suspects believed to be in Chingola. The complaints have since been issued with medical forms.
Another story that leaves a lot of questions than answers. You look at the issue, I think in the past few weeks we've been talking about the issue. Someone was arrested for allegedly holding a press briefing. Is that justifiable, Nelson?
Well, I wouldn't speak to the aspect that that was justifiable or not, but the police were able to also maybe do or discharge their mandate. But now, I think one thing that needs to be looked at is the fact that should now be holding a press briefing. Is there a law that requires one to actually apply for them to hold a press briefing? If so, what should be the way forward? And then there also may be issues looking at, we received reports that there were some journalists that were harassed in the process. I think to me now that's where the concern comes in from, because I mean, how do you harass journalists? They're just maybe
they're just doing their duty as the police are.
Yes, exactly. So, and I believe journalists and police officers are supposed to be partners.
Most likely, because you look at there's a thin line between the police and journalists. Okay, we all have this duty to save the public. And so whatever happens, whether the police are there, whether it concerns the police or not, but if it's of public interest, I think journalists must be given that space to operate and work freely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it's been. And what could be also disheartening is that we've had maybe such occurrences in the previous years, and one would hope that now that should not be the case, because we've learned from the past.
Yeah, and again, I think the police most of the times they find themselves on that side where they leave questions and answers. Because you look at, as you said in the past, there was an incident where one individual was protesting against LGBTQ, and then journalists who were on the scene were also rounded up, later released. Now you wonder, how should journalists conduct their work in such scenarios? Because theirs is just, they are more like referees. They are on the middle of two sides, where they get this side of the story and the other side of the story. And if you have incidents like that, I think it's unfortunate.
Well, let's also get to look at some of the comments that we have from our Facebook platform. I know we will be heading towards zooming some of the stories that you have there.
Yes.
But there's one interesting comment from Vanessa Zulu Sakala, who is saying 10 years was going to be better not your 1 year, 2 months. I'm sure this is a comment in relation to
the sentencing story. Yes. I think that one is speaking my mind. Speaking
your mind indeed. And we say thank you to Andrew Tutwa, who's watching from Pongwe. It's good to know that Pongwe is locked on to Camnet TV. Monzeli Mali, watching all the way from DRC. Mwemba Oswald, Nampundwe Town. And, wow, these are some of the comments that we have at the moment. I think we'll be able to load you down in terms of how you can get through and participate in as far as our topic of discussion is today. And let's get to proceed and look at some of the remaining stories that were zooming in as we even wait to usher our guest this morning.
Okay, so the other story that I have here is the Zambia National Education Coalition, ZANEC, says the successful implementation of the 2023 education curriculum framework would depend on the adequate funding. ZANEC Executive Director George Hamusunga says the 2013 process was progressive, but saw the failure to do away with old materials due to lack of funds. And Parliamentary Committee on Education, Science and Technology member Tuambo Mutinta has urged the stakeholders, especially teachers, to support the education curriculum framework as it is skills oriented. Let's get a report from Afias Kaptula on that story.
Stakeholders in the education sector have continued to react to the revised 2023 education curriculum framework. Speaking on the sidelines of the curriculum validation meeting in Lusaka, which commenced Monday, Zambia National Education Coalition, ZANEC, says the said review, though undergoing validation, is welcome.
There are a lot of ambitious policy proposals that have been made in the curriculum, which will require a lot of money. And it is for this reason that we need to ensure that this curriculum process does not end only at document level. We need huge investments in order to realize what we have put there in terms of resources and also in terms of time.
Committee member on Education, Science and Technology in Parliament, Tuambo Mutinta, says the revised 2023 education curriculum framework is skill-oriented, which has been lacking among learners. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mutinta's called on stakeholders to support the framework.
Now, looking at the proposed amendments to the curriculum, we strongly feel that they are timely, especially that the focus is around providing the young people with skills. It's a skills-based curriculum, and for a long time we have struggled with the young people being entrepreneurs, the young people being able to provide innovation, and we strongly feel this is what this curriculum is going to address.
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ, has however called for constitutionalization of the curriculum review process to prevent abuse of the exercise.
The curriculum has been reviewed severally in a short period of time. And if you were to ask me, I'll tell you that there's already an excited opposition leader somewhere who wants to come and change what has been done. Now, we cannot continue doing this with education. What we are saying now is that to curb this, can we have a clause in the Constitution that is going to say curriculum can only be reviewed after a certain period of time?
Among the major changes in the revised education curriculum framework aims to replace grades 7 to 10 with Form 1 to Form 4, with learners writing exams in grade 6 and Form 4 before progressing for A levels in Form 5 and Form 6. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
We are fully aware, as it stands, that the provisional liquidator NEA has not yet submitted the scheme of arrangement and other legal requirements in the Zambian court. Honestly, this is a setback. This is a hindrance to the transition process that all the stakeholders are looking forward to be finalized. Key stakeholders, the suppliers, the contractors, the employees at KSEP and the Zambians are all waiting for the provisional liquidator, NEA, to submit the scheme of arrangement and other legal requirements in the Zambian court to expedite the transition process so that the data resources can take full control of KCM. The president, our Republican president, President Hakainde Hichilema's ambitious target of achieving 3 million metric tons copper production per annum by 2031 is highly dependent on the successful operations of a KCM. Therefore, we are calling upon the provisional liquidator, Celine, to stop delaying the transition process, do the due diligence by submitting the scheme of arrangement in the Zambian court, so that the transition process can progress and can be finalized within this month of December, so as then data resources can take full control of KCM and clear off the payments that KCM is owing to the suppliers and contractors.
Lusaka Principal Resident Magistrate Sylvia Munyinya has cautioned the state to close its case if it does not have witnesses in a case in which opposition economic and equity party leader Chilufya Tayali is in court for alleging that Senior Chief Mooni is the mastermind of gassing which characterized the country between 2019 and 2022. In this matter, Tayali is facing one count of harassment utilizing means of electronic communication contrary to Section 6(9) of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act No. 2 of the laws of Zambia. In this matter, Tayali is facing one count of harassment utilizing means of electronic communication contrary to Section 6(9) of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act No. 2 of the laws of Zambia. But when the matter came up for continuation of trial before Magistrate Munyinya, the state made an application for an adjournment after the witness on the stand was cross-examined and explained that they only had one witness for the day and that the next witnesses would be ready before preset dates. However, the defense objected to the application and explained that they had dedicated the whole day to the case in order to make progress in the matter. Magistrate Munyinya cautioned the state to be prudent and gave them the last time to hear the case because there was no way should come to court just for 30 minutes. The court further advised the state to either close the case or withdraw it if it did not have witnesses. Trial in this matter continues on 12 December 2023. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Police station today at 10 hours received information that Mr. Mwenda Kasonde, the president of Economic Freedom Fighters Party, was having an illegal meeting at Gisela Guest House in Kitwe. Brief facts are that police received information that the president of EFF and his entourage was having a press conference. Police visited the scene where they found Mr. Mwenda, Mr. Siame Changala, Secretary General, Mr. Francis Sampa, Kobabiot Chairperson, and 6 journalists. They were asked if they had notified the police, of which they stated that they did not and apologized for the oversight. All were advised to accompany the police to the station where they were warned and advised to stop any further illegal meetings, of which they acknowledged positively and were let to go. Police have initiated investigation into the matter. Later on their way, they were blocked by people who apprehended them and brought them back to Riverside Police Station, where they were released since there was no report of any alleged matter. As regards to the theft of the laptop for Mr. Kasonde and the car keys, the laptop was found in the vehicle he was using and the car keys were brought by a taxi driver to Riverside and handed over at the station. The reports we have as of now are for assaults involving Mr. Kasonde and Mr. Changala, which we have launched a manhunt for the suspects believed to be in Chingola. The complaints have since been issued with medical forms.
Those are some of the stories that we are zooming in and ensuring that we also get your perspective in terms of what you think. They were making headlines in our previous bulletin last night. And one of the stories that is now seem to be of public interest and is in the public domain is the aspect that 6 journalists were arrested yesterday when EFF leader Kasonde Mwenda was allegedly arrested and later released by police officers in Kitwe. And these are some of the concerns that have continued to be outpouring, and this comes in the wake of concerns that the country's democratic space is shrinking. Now, is the country's democratic space shrinking? To help us understand, in studio we are joined by governance and human rights activist Wesley Mianda. Good morning, Mr. Mianda.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
Your perspective and first reaction to what transpired yesterday. I know you have this information of what happened yesterday.
What happened yesterday is a sad state of affairs, and as a democratic country we don't have to tolerate that kind of behavior where we have political players who are being harassed by our men and women in uniform. We chose to be into multipartyism. And when you talk about democracy, it's all about embracing different political views, different political ideologies. So the democracy is here to stay. So when you look at what happened on the Copper Belt, I think everyone would really take it that for sure the democratic space is shrinking.
But government has maintained to say the democratic space in the country is not shrinking, given the fact that opposition political parties are able to go about and have their concerns maybe aired out for different means that they may use.
Yes, I'm coming to that point. When you can talk about that, you can brag about that when you maybe look at what used to happen during PF. Yeah, but then it's not just a matter of comparing. It's a matter of doing the right thing at the right time. So even in this era where we have the New Dawn administration in government, we can still have that democratic space shrinking if we are not careful. Looking at what happened on the Copper Belt, we are saying the police officers shouldn't be overzealous. If what they're doing, they think they are pleasing the Republican president, Mr. Kainde Chilema. I'm saying no, because the man is a peaceful president. He wouldn't love to have his own people who voted for him to be the president being harassed, being tortured. No, because he still needs the same people to vote for him in 2026. So what we are saying is, it is not true that whatever the police officers are doing, they are trying to please the Republican president or whoever. All we are saying is those that managing these public institutions, like the Minister of Home Affairs, the IG, let them put their thoughts together and see how best they can man the institutions without actually denting the image of the president. Because whatever happens, people will take it that you are president. Whatever happens, we don't really understand the way the governance system operates. The president appoints people to run these institutions, and he is not the immediate supervisor of the police service. That's why there's IG there. That's why there's Minister of Home Affairs. These are the people that are supposed to supervise our officers. But if they fail, then it means that in a way they are trying to dent the image of the president. So when you hear people talk about the shrinking of the democratic space, don't just come out and disqualify that. Assess and see how best you can actually do better to make sure that democracy still flourishes. So that's the only. So it's not just a matter of comparing with what used to happen during PF. Comparison here cannot work. Let this New Dawn administration do the right thing. What we want to see is this government to create an enabling environment for people who are working to do their work and contribute to the economic system of this country. Those that are in business, let them do the business with free minds. Those that are doing whatever they are doing, even politicians, politics is also business. Let them do their business with free minds. No one should feel intimidated. No one should be harassed. No. These things are happening at the time when we are joining the world, the global community, to celebrate the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Right now, our vice president is in Geneva. What is she doing there? When here we are busy now tormenting one another. When here we are busy now harassing our own journalists. I know Mr. Mwenda Kasonde has been very vocal on many issues that are affecting citizens. But you see the way it comes out of. So now I want to be a balanced, speaker. The way it comes out on issues. What's that chitama politics na chifukushi? Play a down ball. Present issues to the people in the corridors of power in a sober-minded way. They'll be able to understand. Tell them, but President, if this bill can be passed from Musokotwana as Minister of Finance to Gary Nkombo, as he runs his CDF programs, then from there, what do we see? We go back, we look at these other players within the pitch, then we are going to score. This governance system is like football, where you have 11 players playing on it.
In the interest of time,
yes.
I would like to get your perspective. Is there a law currently that requires one to apply before they hold a press briefing?
It has been a struggle on the Public Order Act. There's been a lot of debates. Others are saying, no, there's no need for somebody to get police permit. It's just a matter of notifying the police, and then you are given a go-ahead. The main purpose there is to ensure that those that are involved in that kind of meeting, they are protected. That's the whole purpose. Now, the issue of the police, like the way it happened, on the Copper Belt, it's not true that, police officers are only trained to harass people. No. These people are trained to maintain law and order, to protect citizens. It was just going to make more sense for the police officers to approach Mwenda Kasonda and his team to tell them, no, sir, you are not doing the right thing. Please, can you stop this? It was going to make more sense for the police officers to speak to the journalists who were there to tell them, no, my journalists, please don't cover this. In that sober mind, instead of harassing them, confiscating their cameras, asking them to delete whatever they had done, that kind of behavior, we are saying, no, the police officers can still do something better than what we are seeing now. Because if they continue with that kind of behavior, then it means that they are not doing well on the part of this government.
Now, Mr. Mianda, we saw the UPND whilst in opposition, they suffered these similar incidents, and they condemned it in strongest terms. And now we are having it back, where even journalists are harassed. Opposition, mostly they are arrested and detained for a longer period of time, maybe more than required by the law. And they are using the PF as a yardstick to measure their activities. Does this justify their actions?
You cannot go on justifying the wrong. Do the right thing. I've already said it's not just a question of making comparisons with PF. But PF did a lot of issues. They went to the extent of harassing people, even killing people. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, as president of the Republic of Zambia, knows what it feels to be a prisoner. The rest of those that were in support of him, they still feel that pinch. But I hope and trust that it's not a payback. It's not a payback. Whatever kind of situation that we're seeing now, it's not just a matter of paying back because of what the UPND went through when they were in opposition. We are saying UPND is here to provide that unique leadership, which is going to be appreciated by the people of Zambia. So what we are saying is the issue of using PF as a yardstick to justify whatever UPND is doing now will end up denting their image.
Okay, maybe just to follow up on this thought that you've just given, do you see it as time that Zambia will start cultivating a new crop of politicians? Because we see this going on and on should another person come in as president.
But which crop of politicians are we going to have? Because you are the people who are supposed to be in politics, but you are shunning, you are running away. You are running away. We are trying to encourage, our women like Saboy Imboela, my own tribal cousin, say, cousin, be solid and see how we can market you to the public. Sometimes maybe we may think of having a female president. Maybe she can make a difference. But all we are saying is politics actually should involve all of us, including you seated here. We want to see you guys getting involved, do all your politicking, and even going to the extent of actually going for other positions, like mayors, members of parliament. Now that is the new shoot that you are talking about. It's like now you are saying we are actually tired of seeing same people making headlines on the news. The Kambilis of this world, the Lubindas of this world, as if they are the only Zambians, and yet we are all there as Zambians, and we can actually make an impact on the political arena. So what you are saying is true, but let those that feel can make a difference come on board and be part of the players.
Mr. Mianda, will have to hold your thought. Let's get to this caller. Good morning. You're through to the Camnet TV breakfast show on a Tuesday. Twabukafye bwino mwashibukeni. Turera ngana banani mwetu mina kwisa. Mkwae.
Wakapokola bale wali kubika tepo kwa sababu bro nambanga bara yanya abantu ala tungula bama bafuye kubakinga ndege kuweka bilabu ya sababu kwa la kutoka ndani na ndani ya kuweka ndani na ndani bandu aboteka tena na jago kake kama wali bamu nishida imoja bali apola kwa nishida kwa moja hali tuanze pero nataka kama rezo sisi ama kuna tuanze kwa safari inayoshika democrat ile mneko kwa na msinga kile rasmi kwa kilo bongo hizo tunataka kitu mwamba tatizo la jinsi ya kisi tangu ikiwa na mwaye na kedi ile tangu apoyo alisi na po baba kwa sababu kisha lakini kama kwa journalist kwanza ujiona itapio kulanda ndio kulingana na hapo kidogo ndio kuna kitai namba ni kile au ni ndio sana kitu tu hapo ana nitakuta kwa ndio au sasa hivi namba mfue au tayari sasa kama tumeishia bana kwa ndio kwa ngoja kabisa basi ndio Tuke kuja kukutana sana kuna wanaanza kuzungumza na vile vya hapa basi ukila na ile yote ya excellence watu sana na wazalendo bila ni kama kuleta kwa kila mkulanda sema ndio kufunga ndio ndio kwa mfano ndio kulanda hapo ndio mwanadamu ndio ikiwa ndio Zakatine elaite kujaukia kutela serikali ni kutesa ndio wale wakundi uchima na mwaka ya mtando sana ndio kwa sababu kufadhili watu na bajala na nimeta kufadhili kwa politiki ndio kuja kufanya watu na kutana ndio ndio kujibulela umoja wote kama na kunyana la ndio wote kama la kabla ndio sio kama hiyo
twatotela sana mlando wakashita twalasta ifofini. Well, those were some of the concerns, but even as we almost conclude, I would also like to get your perspective. Justification from government has been, you see, some of the things that happen, especially when it comes to the opposition members of political parties, is that they do things to provoke public officers, and these public officers are only attempting to promote the rule of law. Your take?
Yeah, I think let me be very brief on that, because I want to dwell much on the harassment of journalists. Yeah, but on that one, That's what I'm saying. You know, we don't have to do politics, Nachifukushi. You know, let's play downpour. The person who is in the driver's seat, Mr. Kainde Chilema, is not a simple man. He knows what he's done. He knows what he's gone through. He knows what he's doing. He knows what is right and what is wrong. So it's not just a matter of trying to push him around, to dare him. Even the people that are in the corridors of power, we are saying as opposition, let's see how best we can help this government do their work by providing credible checks and balances. The issue of provoking the situation deliberately, like, for example, Mr. Kasonde Mwenda, is it Mr. Mwenda Kasonde, knows very well that he's supposed to get permission. He is supposed to notify the police.
For a briefing?
But what is? Wait, yes. You know, once you say briefing, you attract the attention of people who are more than 10, 20. Then if at all there's any confusion there, who do you blame? Who's a blame and that? So for any type of gathering, let there be some kind of notification. Say, oh guys, here we are doing this and that, so that the police is aware. Why should I go ahead when I know that it's wrong? So what you are saying is the permit, the notification is supposed to be done, you know, to inform the police officers to say, okay guys, we have this program. That's the way to go. Because if you just do things, at the end of the day, you start looking at your friends, but many in power, as if they are bad. They are not bad. They are trying to promote the rule of law. Now, away from that, I know my politician, but at the end of the day, we judge who is right and who is wrong. Let me talk about the harassment of journalists. It is not the first time that we are seeing journalists being harassed. No, for a long time now, and yet we are talking about the rule of law. We are talking about access to information. We are talking about media freedom. What is all this to do? You know, the journalist is not an enemy. The journalist is just there to disseminate information to the public. Even whatever happened, for us to know, you journalists, if you want to do politics and you have a message that you need to preach to the people of Zambia, you need journalists. If you're a businessman and you want your malonda to be known by the people of Zambia, you need the media to talk about that. Now, if you look at journalists as enemies, then you're not going anywhere. Even as a politician, just know that you don't know politics. Even as a police officer, if you go to the extent of harassing journalists instead of protecting them, because you are there to protect these people. Now, when you look at the kind of situation that they find themselves in, I mean the journalists, some of them, when you look at what they take at the end of the month, it's almost nothing. Why are they suffering, and why should you add more hardships on them when actually you are there to protect them, to support what the kind of work that they are doing? No, we are saying as Zambians, we need to actualize what we speak, what we say, what we formulate. Access to information is there to allow the free flow of information from the media to the public. You know, media freedom, it's all about, you know, talking about information that should flow from the media to the public. So if we don't actualize this, then it will just be some lip pronouncements, and it will not make sense for us to remain the way we are. We only talk about these things, but we don't actualize them. We are saying no. On the issue of harassing journalists, we are not interested in that. Your job is to protect these men and women who are doing a noble job.
Well, concerns continue to outpour whether or not the country's democratic space is shrinking. And to help us understand that concern that has been widely spread when we go to the general public, we were joined by governance and human rights activist Wesley Mianda, just to help us understand, and in line with the development that happened also yesterday in Kitwe, where AFF leader Kasonde Mwenda was allegedly arrested and then later on released for holding a press briefing. These are among other concerns that we discussed this morning. It has been the Camnet TV Tuesday edition of the Breakfast Show with me, Nelson Zulu, as well as Vincent Piri. For now, we say continue having a great day that is full of a rainy weather.
And we hope it will be cold throughout the day.
You hope it's going to be cold throughout the day?
Yes, we hope it will be like this throughout the day.
Well, thank you so much to all our audience as well as our guests for making time with us. We say bye for now and look forward to our next set of programming.